Hello, welcome to this F1 2016 video with me at The Real TomTom. Looking this time at the gearbox. Do you use automatic, manual with suggested, or manual? From what I've seen so far, manual and manual suggested are essentially exactly the same. You'll see the difference in a minute in the video. You'll notice here with the Ferrari in Malaysia, I've set it up with a standard, again, middle of the road car setup. So it's all about the gears. It's not about the profile or the car setup or changing any of those settings. It is all about which gear works best for my time. Now you'll all have seen some of the races I've taken part in the multiplayer. I use the automatic gears there, and I'm not that good. I'm still finishing last, but we'll see what happens. Do I get better? Now again, like I've mentioned in previous videos, it's consistency, it's practice, stuff that I don't necessarily have all that much time to do. So with these particular sort of laps that I'm doing, you'll notice through each one of them there are times I could get better, essentially, that I can get much better with doing it if I was to play it for a bit longer. But these are essentially straight out the box, around Malaysia, in the Ferrari, and at the moment I'm about 10 seconds better than the default Ghost, which is nice to know, which is it's pretty slow anyway, so I wouldn't take that as much of a guide. So with the automatic gears, obviously the plus is you don't need to know what gear you need when you hit a corner, what gear is best for the corner. The downside is sometimes actually it sort of bogs down the engine and makes you a little bit slower, where you want higher revs or something. But then arguably, if you don't change quick enough, you're again losing time, where the automatic would give you that bit extra time. So this lap may very well be the only clean lap I do. I think once you sort of start doing this and playing a time trial and doing it over and over again, you start thinking you can push certain corners or push certain areas, and what actually ends up happening is you just get slower, or you get different times. So in the settings I've changed it. Now you can see the Ghost ahead of me, and that's my Ghost with automatic gears. We're now with manual suggested. So if you look at the bottom right of the screen, there it says I'm in 7th, I'll be going down to 3rd, which is essentially what I do. Having to think about it though does make me slower. You can see that the faster time I got at the moment on automatic gears is much quicker, because I'm not having to do in that one something new. So theoretically, when I changed to because with that manual suggested, there was very few times I actually looked at the suggested, and it doesn't automatically take you there. It's not like if you're not doing it, it will. There you go, invalidated lap. It's not taking you down to those gears. It is just saying what you should be in about now is 4th. And there we go, I go down to 3rd to get a bit more of the revs up. It tells me I should have stayed in 4th, and that's what automatic gears would essentially be doing for you. I think in automatic you can sort of knock the gears down. Oh yeah, I took out the bollard. Great bit of driving. With the automatic gears, you can sort of knock it up or down if you want, but it will force you back to the other one. I kind of thought manual suggested would be sort of a cross between automatic and you doing it as well, but it's not. It's just it has that little red option. So I got a lap invalidated, but again it was a bad corner. We'll see that. We'll compare the timings in a moment. So this one is now purely on manual. Again, there's the default Ghost of my rival and my personal best. Terrible first corner. So already, even though it's a fairly long track, already I'm going to be, as you can see, pretty much well down. And one corner can ruin essentially what could have been a good lap. There you can hear I knocked down to 3rd because it's an uphill section. I wasn't getting the drive in 4th gear that I would have wanted. Snuck it down to 3rd, and it just picks you back up a little bit. However, you get it wrong, or when you're having to learn to do the gearing at the right time again, you make silly mistakes, go off track. You can hear there I'm over revving in certain corners where automatically it would have changed for me. So it does depend very heavily on practice and learning the tracks. And I do know the Malaysia track. I have driven it in previous games, not in real life obviously, but I have driven it in previous games. But with each iteration of a game, some of the handling changes. So although you may know the track and that serves you fairly well to come in and just play, there will be certain breaking points or bits that slightly change between games. The big thing I think for 2017 that is coming out of all the professional sort of gamers from the new Codemasters game is that the handling physics are very, very different. But then they're doing it with, you know, all the anti-lock brakes off and all that, so the handling model would be very different to what I'm doing, where most things are kind of part of the default. So there you can see my automatic first lap was a 1 minute 41.18, which gives me my default time, I guess. The manual suggested I was 2.5 seconds slower with a 1:43.5. Moving on to the manual then, it's a 1:47, and I think that was just because I had really bad, that first corner really threw me, and so I was 6 seconds slower there. So you can see that automatic for me gives me my faster lap time, but with a bit of practice I can get better. Now I think this one, by lap 4, this would have been me using the automatic gear, so I was again a little bit faster than I had been. You can see that I'm not as bad as I was. I wasn't 6 seconds down, but that last corner again, I get a little bit sort of out of shape. So I make it through with only being 1 second, I think, their difference between my automatic and then just the manual gears. So although I've done 3 parts of that video, they were the first times I had to go at doing it. With a bit of practice I was already a second sort of better off, but I was still kind of about the same time. I didn't get much better than my first automatic, and again that came to the fact I was pushing and getting invalidated laps at all the wrong times because I thought I could go faster. But there you are. Hopefully you find this video useful. When you're doing gears, when you sort of start, or if you're a bad racer, then automatic will serve you quite well. Practice, if you're unsure, change to the manual suggested, because it will obviously give you what the computer thinks should be the gear for that corner or that section. And then when you're really confident, just practice with your gear choice and manual gears. You will be slow to start with. It's another thing you have to think about. And again, in a normal car, if you're a driver, if you can actually drive, you will know that it becomes second nature. At the moment, to me, this isn't second nature. It is having to think about it, and again, not getting the changes quite correctly. I'm still trying to focus on just the driving before I add the gear choices in again. But again, let me know what you think in the comments. If you want to see any other particular videos, please do let me know. And follow me here on YouTube, on Twitter @TheRealTomTom. Until the next video and the next multiplayer championship, thanks very much for watching.